Hello and welcome to Tiny Desk Knitting with Emma. Yeah, it's Monday morning. It's raining. It's now April. Wild. I am really glad that March is over. March was a lot. And I was just kind of, like obviously months are just kind of like arbitrary. But sometimes it's like nice to have a new month, fresh start. Like a lot of things happened in March. I'm just ready to like put that behind me. Easter is over. It's Easter Monday. I have to go to work because it's the first of the month and there are just like things that wouldn't happen at work if I didn't go do them. Yeah, one of the difficult things about having a job like mine is that it's very, like because a lot of things happen on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, I can really only take vacation time on certain days of the week. Yes, like the end of the week I've like finagled so that the end, like Thursday and Friday, I can take off if I have to. So like I could take off last Thursday and Friday for Monday, Thursday, and Good Friday. But Monday is like, and the first of the month, like can't. So I take a lot of time off in the summer and the winter. Like January, we don't have class. So I take some time off in January usually, and then I take time off in the summer. Or at least I can leave campus and work from remotely because we have like remote orientation that we do. Yeah, okay, that's not important, but I have to go to work today, which kind of stinks, but, it's one of those things where you're like, fine, it's my job. I have to go. I'm tired. I'm really tired, but I had a really nice weekend with my family. My mom came to visit Washington for Easter, and because my mom decided to come for like Holy Week and Easter, so the 4 days leading up to Easter, my grandparents decided to come to DC because they're 86 and they've never seen this part of the world. They're from Western Canada. So they got to see the cherry blossoms, and then both my mom's sisters came because they wanted to and they could, and they had, I guess, and one of my cousins came as well. So like lots of us, they all came to church yesterday to see me, which was really nice. My mom came to all of the churches. I mean, that's why she was visiting. So she was really relieved. She said it was really nice to be at someone else's church for Holy Week and Easter because no one could ask her to run the live stream. We don't have a live stream at St. Paul's K Street. My mom was always like, I wish you had a live stream. And I'm like, do you? You hate running the live stream at our church. I've never actually said that to her. But yeah, it was really good. Easter was good. Last year I got kind of sick after Easter. I think I got COVID. But this year, hopefully that didn't happen. I powered all the way through. Lots of singing. Lots of being like on, very like on. I did something new where I like put hydration mix in my water bottle instead of just water. Monica thought it was like energy mix and she's like, you need to stop doing that. You're already too energetic. And I was like, no, it's literally just electrolytes to keep me hydrated. I'm energetic because I'm who I am. But that's fine. Anyway, it was good. And then I also ate like a energy chew. This technically was energy related, but it like, I don't know if people are not athletes, they would probably not know what this is, but you can eat like gummy things that are like glucose, fructose things that release energy sugars in your body, so that carbohydrates basically, so that you can keep doing whatever your endurance sport is like while you're going. So like in the middle of a long run, runners will eat these chews, or like a bike ride, I guess you could eat them. So I ate those in the middle of church on Friday and Saturday nights because both of the services were like more than 2 hours. And I was like, this is an endurance sport. I'm going to need this. And especially on Friday, it was really helpful. So that's a fun fact. If you do something where you have to be like on a lot, even if it's not a sport, you can use like sports fuel and stuff to kind of help you just like stay kind of like keep your blood sugar levels high. So 4 minutes in and I haven't talked about knitting at all, but I've been doing this. I did, one of my aunts who was visiting, she knits. So that was fun. She also runs, so we ran together. But I'm wearing my Hilda sweater. This is a sweater that I made. I finished it in 2023 2022. I finished this for Rhinebeck 2022. This is, Hilda is a sweater from the Vintage Shetland Project, which is a big collection. You can get it as a print book or as an ebook. It's by Susan Crawford. She took a bunch of pieces from the Shetland Museum and like recreated them. She wrote patterns for them. So she reverse engineered patterns for like I don't know, 25, maybe more patterns from the Shetland Museum. It's amazing. So Hilda's like an oversized coat from this collection. It's all in natural colors, and so it uses all of these charts. Well, most of these charts. I had to make up a few, but it uses most of these charts and most of these colors. I added the red. Hers had like a different brown, or it had a gray or something. I didn't use any gray. I just used all natural browns and then the red. So I used all of the natural colors are Jamieson and Smith Jumper Weight Supreme, which is the natural range, and then the red is 2-ply jumper weight from Jamieson and Smith as well. I will link my Ravelry page in the show notes if you are interested. I'm gonna just tilt this a little bit because if I do that, my head can be right in front of the light, which makes it not glare so much. I'm drinking a cup of tea. I've already had my coffee. So that's good. Anyway, okay, so I did like keep knitting through Holy Week, which was good. I knitted every day. I've been working on this Guernsey. So I've been talking about this for a while, but it's been really hit and miss in terms of like me actually working on it. Oh, that's not the right bag. So I talked about it last week. My Guernsey is in progress. I finally managed to like get to the part where I decided to start the texture. So I was getting impatient with the stockinette of the body. So instead of like finishing up to the armholes, the stockinette, I decided to start the texture before I got to the armhole split. I had like 3 more inches to knit, maybe 4, I don't know, but whatever. So I just made a chart and I started knitting the body of this. I can't remember if I'd already started doing that at this time last week. So I decided, based on like how long it took me, I wanted to do this thing where I like worked on this for an hour every day or something, as like a personal challenge, because this is like a helpful way for me to finish projects that are kind of like more difficult, like a bigger like cerebral lift, a bigger mental lift for me. Like it's not just vanilla, because I do a lot of plain stockinette vanilla knitting. So if I'm doing something that's not, sometimes it's hard for me to like get into the zone and be like, yeah, I want to work on that. So I often set myself a challenge of like, okay, you have to work on this for this many rows a day or this long every day. And because of the ganzy yoke has a Guernsey, whatever you want to call it, jersey, it has a cable pattern on it. I'm making myself do 4 rows a day, 4 rounds a day, because it takes me about 40 to 45 minutes to do that, which is a good amount of time. The yarn is hard on my hands, so I don't really want to go overboard with it. I'm really trying to like keep it to 4 rows a day for that reason. And then rounds, it is in rounds. And then I always know if I'm on a cable, like every other day starts with a cable round. So I know because it's every 8. So today was this morning. I almost always do it right when I wake up at like 5:30 or 6:30, whatever time I wake up. If I'm not going for a run until an hour or 45 minutes after that, then I do my Guernsey knitting. And I like to get a streak thing out of the way early. So here it is so far. And I did, again, like I said, I did actually work on this when I was in DC during Holy Week. So you can sort of see, it's hard to see. But you can see the cables really well. There you go. You can kind of see it this way. There are several panels. There's this one. This is like there we go. This is an Eye of God. That's what it's called. This one here. Yeah, there we go. And then there's a cable in the middle of everything. A 3/3 cable, always going in the same direction. I don't know what this is called, but I've realized it looks like pizza, which entertains me. This isn't for me. It's for my first music teacher, Mark, who just retired. He was my choir director at the cathedral when I was growing up. And I did not plan this to look like pizza, but I think he'll find this hilarious. When I was a teenager, we had a Wednesday night choir practice, and after choir practice, we always had pizza. So with Mark, so there's pizza, which is an unintentional metaphor. And then there's this kind of bigger like checkerboard motif that's connected to, this is the middle motif. And it's connected by these. So this is the middle, and it's exactly the same on the back and the front, and then it just is symmetrical. So there's the pizza again, and then there's the Eye of God here. And then there's just some filler of like 2 by 2. I should have should have done moss stitch or something here. But so you can see I've got my arm size steeks just started. I just separated those today. So I am going to steek this at the armholes because I don't really want to work a texture chart back and forth. It's really hard to see on the back. I'm using, I'm like knitting this specifically on my couch in the first floor of my house because there's a really good light. I should just put a really good light like on my bed, like on the headboard or something, so that I can knit in bed and have this light, or like get the neck light or something. But anyway, I love knitting in that. It's like a nice, like, this is where I knit it, in this chair. This weekend when I was staying in a hotel with my mom and my relatives, but my mom and I were sharing a hotel room, and there was like a light on the bedside, but I had to like move it so it was kind of close, but I was like, oh, I'm gonna go blind if I keep doing this because the yarn is a dark navy. Once again, I'm using a frangipani cone. If you're unfamiliar, I will link frangipani in the show notes. There will be a link up here to the woolly thistle if you want to get it, my affiliate link to the woolly thistle. Writing it down. I always write down where it is so that I don't have to like watch it to see where I need to put the card of like, go to the woolly thistle. All of the links will be in the show notes to everything. So like if you want to see the Ravelry page for this pattern, that's in the show notes, as well as like a link to the Vintage Shetland project through Susan Crawford's website. You'll be able to see that. Again, you can get this as an ebook so that you just get the patterns, or there's essays in the book. It's really good. There's a beautiful photo gallery. If you're really interested in Fair Isle knitting, I definitely recommend getting either a print copy or a digital copy of the Vintage Shetland project. The book is huge. I would go get it, but I don't want this video to be like 6 hours long. And sometimes that happens, if not 6 hours, you know what I mean? If I just keep getting up to get stuff. I've shown it in so many videos. You can look it up. Because I'm not talking about anything in the book other than just what I'm wearing today. I'm going to avoid it. But yeah, the frangipani cones are great. They're 5 plies. It's 5-ply Guernsey, true like Guernsey yarn. It's a the company I think is based in Cornwall, but the yarn is milled in Yorkshire, like most yarns. Yeah, so I get it at you can get it on cones. That navy cone that way at the furthest over there. That is my second cone for this, because I will be breaking into the second one. I wind it off into balls just because it's easier to transport. So I have one more pretty big ball of the first cone. I'll probably be like well into one of the sleeves by the time I need to break into the second cone. I don't think I'm going to use very much of the second cone, but I will need like 100 grams at least probably out of the 500 gram cone. Yeah, so I'm going to be, I made arm size steeks at the sleeves, just like on this sweater actually, so this is a good representation. So I just did steek bridges here when I was knitting the body so I could keep working in the round. And then I picked up all the stitches around. My pro tip for that is if you're knitting in Fair Isle color work, do that last stitch before your steek all in the same color. Like always do it in the main color just so you can see the line. And then the first stitch of the steek, I always do a purl stitch. The first and last stitches of the steek, I use a purl stitch also in the main color. Just so that I can always know that I'm picking up the stitches in a straight line, because you just want to pick up the stitch on the outside of the purl stitch of the steek. So I always knit that stitch in the round because, and that it would always be knitted because this is stockinette fabric, but like for the Guernsey, I have to make sure I'm knitting that stitch because it is part of the texture pattern. So I have to stop the texture pattern 1 stitch early and knit that final stitch and then purl. So I'll just be needle felting that steek, and then I will be picking up the stitches. Well, first I needle felt the steek, then I graft the shoulders together because it's really hard to put I use a felting mat and a needle felting tool to secure my steeks. So I will be using a needle felting tool to do that. So I tend to not close the shoulders with the either Kitchener stitch so needle bind off from the inside or whatever, however I graft the shoulders. I don't do that till I finish needle felting the steek, just because it makes it easier to make sure I've really felted the steek really well without having to like angle the mat in a weird way. Although I have a smaller needle felting mat that's like this big, so that might be helpful. It's helpful for needle felting small areas. But yeah, and then I'll pick up those stitches Then I'll cut the steek open, then I'll knit the sleeve down like this. So this is not, the only like non-traditional thing I did for this ganzy was that I didn't do an arm gusset. It doesn't, I don't think Mark needs it to be so close fitting because it's not like for fishing. He's just gonna wear it. So I think in, you know, historically often these were really more close fitting sweaters, but because they're drop sleeve, you need more room in the upper body to like, for the drop sleeve to work. It's hard to explain why, and I don't super know why, probably. So anyway, they would do like a tighter, like a more well-fitting body, and then do this underarm gusset where they would start here and increase like in a little triangle like this, and then they would decrease that triangle on the sleeve. So that's kind of interesting, but I didn't do that. It's just going to be I'm not modifying the drop shoulder construction at all. I am going to do some short rows at the shoulder just because it'll fit them better. Like this doesn't have any short row shaping at the shoulders, but this is a pretty oversized sweatshirt style of thing, so it doesn't matter. Okay, I gotta move on. But I'm super proud of myself for making progress on the Guernsey and like really getting it. I'm like, okay, this is getting done. I 4 rows a day till that yoke is done, and then I will work an hour a day on the sleeves, and that'll only take a couple of weeks probably. So if that. Okay, socks. It's April 1st. I don't have to record a separate video of me opening my sock yarn of the month today because it's April 1st when I'm recording. So for those of you who have not heard this story, on my birthday last year, I had a bunch of friends over. I brought my bag of sock yarn downstairs, like, you know, 60 or some crazy skeins of sock yarn. And I said, please wrap this up, like wrap up one set of yarn, 1 skein, maybe 2 skeins, whatever you want for me to knit socks every month of the year. Write the month on the package, and on the 1st of the month for all of 2024, I will open the bag up and I will cast on a pair of socks. So April is the first one that's not like skein shaped, and I can tell there's more than one thing in here. Although there was mohair, you can see my March socks, the purple ones up there, right there. Those are February and those are March. The March ones had mohair, a little extra mohair ball in them. Okay, so. And I am determined to open all of these on camera. Oh, ooh. Oh yeah. Okay. It is. So that technically this is the same. One of them is just in a ball. This is Kelborn Andorra. I've had this for ages, and I think I tried to knit a sock with these. This is like a sport DK weight sock yarn, but it has mohair in it, which means it's pretty strong. That's kind of like an alternative to nylon. This is colorway Blueberry. Yeah. It's not superwash, so that's fun. And it came with this guy. This is fun. Interesting. This is just wool of the Andes. Not wool of the Andes. This is just Stroll sock yarn. Okay. These don't really go together in terms of weight. That's the only thing I'm worried about. I like this combination a lot. I would do some kind of like cheeky little color work thing with this. Maybe I will. But I could also like find a skein of yarn that I have that's the same color as this, that's closer to this weight. That's like totally something that I would do. I'm like, how can I fix this so that it's gonna make more sense? But the colors to keep the, I'm gonna move in front of that light again, but to keep the colors. This looks white probably in the light, but it's a dove gray. I think it's actually called dove gray. This is fun. I would like to do a little color work at the top. So if you are a fan of the Woolly Thistle, they're also, a lot of folks there are also doing a challenge where they knit a pair of socks every month. And they often, Maggie and Karina often talk about it on the Shopcast. And Maggie's ones last year were, or last month were like Garthenor Snowdonia with a little color work motif on the top. And I was like, those are really cute. I've never made color work socks because I always think that, like, I tried to make the Andrea Mowry Spark socks a couple years ago once, and I just, like, they were too small. I used a bigger needle, but I think I just underestimated like how tight they would be. So I need to find my sock needles. Maybe I should use a slightly bigger needle. Maybe I should use a 1.5. I mean, actually I should probably use like a size 2 for these because this is a sport weight yarn. So that would be maybe a good choice, especially if I'm going to do some color work somewhere. Yeah, I think that would be kind of cute. Maybe do a color work pattern. I mean, I could do an all over color work pattern. And do like a shadow wrap heel or something. I don't like the idea of doing an afterthought heel in full color work because you're going to have to cut through multiple. Well, I guess you could knit with the main color, or knit with it. You could do a forethought. You can knit a, do you call that? Waist yarn. That's what it's called. You can knit like a waist yarn strip and then go back and knit your round again. But I think I would prefer to just knit a shadow wrap heel or something because it's exactly the same. You don't construct it the same way as an afterthought heel, but it's the same idea. It's creating the exact same shape as an afterthought heel would. It's just that you don't have to do it as an afterthought. You do it in the middle. It's a short row heel. I'll link the shadow wrap heel tutorial from Denise of Earth Tones Girl. She's great, in the comments, or excuse me, in the description box. You can tell I'm tired. I said the comments. But I like this. April Showers. I bet that was there. And I don't have to wind it. Well, I'm going to have to wind the second skein, but the first skein's already wound. Yeah, I'm going to enjoy this. I am. I'm going to have to find some kind of... I'm going to replace this. I think I've decided... Oh, this is a smart idea because it's got nylon in it, but I think I'm going to replace the that one with a yarn of the same weight. It's the same, or a different weight. The same weight as the Andorra. That's the same color. Kelbourne Woolens is great. They're based in Philadelphia, which is where I used to live. And I really like their 2-plies. This feels a lot like Camper or Scout, which is the Camper and Scout are the same yarn. It's just there's a Scout's a DK and Camper's a fingering weight. And they're like a 2-ply. They're very soft. I really like those yarns. I've used them both for color work a lot. They're beautiful stitch definition, and the colors are so beautifully heathered. And it's not super expensive. So if you're looking for like a nice workhorse yarn, you can knit sweaters with it for sure. You can knit color work accessories with it. I love Kelbourne Woolens, Scout and Camper, and all of their yarns, but those are the only two I've actually... No, yeah, I've used the Perennial sock yarn too. The Perennial sock yarn is nice. I think it has nylon. It has like alpaca or something. I've knitted at least one pair of socks in Kelbourne Perennial. Yeah, I think just that. I knitted it. They have really beautiful neon colors of that yarn, and I knitted a pair of socks in there really, really, really hot pink. I gave them to Monica for Christmas last year because I knitted them in 22. It was part of my crazy sock challenge. So, yeah. Oh, but then I have to think of a character from a book. I don't know. This is like a solid blue. Maybe it'd be like Mr. Darcy. I always do Jane Austen characters. Well, I did all the Jane Austen women. So instead of like going to the Jane Austen men, I've just been like finding different literary characters. Well, maybe that will be inspired after. Oh yeah, this says, after I cast them on, this says 3 light. So this is like a DK weight. So I should definitely use like a size 2 needle, maybe even up. US 2 through 4 is the recommended. Yeah, I'll use a 2. I'll make some squishier like DK weight socks. Maybe I'll knit some ganzy inspired socks. I guess that would be hard because I've got to use 2 colors. I mean, I could knit ganzy inspired socks with just heels and toes and cuffs and different colors, like, but that feels too easy to me. Yeah, it feels too easy. I don't know. I gotta cast them on today though. I was thinking about this. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like work for, on my ganzy every day, and then I'm gonna also cast on this project with this John Arbon yarn that they sent me like 5 months ago, which I really need to get on the needles. Oh, and then I'm also gonna have to cast on my socks. And I was like, the John Arbon project is gonna wait until that that ganzy yoke is done. Yeah. it's a color work project, but it's just like one of those things where it's like, nope, yeah, it has to wait. It's gonna have to wait. But those socks won't take long because it's a nice, it'll be a nice big needle. Okay. What am I going to talk about next? Oh, my aunt and I went to, well, actually my whole family, both my aunts and my mom and some other of our friends came with me to Looped in DC over the weekend. My auntie Carrie is, she's gotten really into knitting in like the last year, which is really fun. And so I'll have to talk about knitting. She's also a runner. On Saturday, which is also the day we went to Looped, she came to park run with me. I went to park run at Roosevelt Island, which is my friend Maggie's park run. So that was fun. We got to see her there and some of our other, like my other people that I know through Maggie who go to that park run. That's how she knows them. So that was really fun. And my aunt, who's my mom's youngest sister, Carrie, she has been running marathons for like her whole life. One of her sons is also really into running. It's when I say I come by this, honestly, I'm like the least elite runner in my family, and I run. Like people sometimes comment, like, you say you go on an 8-mile run, like it's nothing. I'm like, yeah, because to my family, that's nothing. I mean, they're very proud of me, which is nice, but like to me, I'm like, yeah, whatever. But I kept telling people I was running last week. I was like, I have to run a lot because I'm trying to find the line that's the precarious point where I'm the most sane and the least exhausted. I'm trying to find the top of the parabola between sanity and exhaustion, like the best point. Anyway. And so, I think both were past praying for at some point, which I said in one of my Strava posts. I'm such a troll on Strava. Like some people will just be like morning run and they'll like tell you what they did for their run. And I'm like, making up insane titles for my Stravas and just like writing jokes in the like descriptions. And I'm like, I know what I did. My Garmin app tells me all about my run and I have a training log. So like, that's for me. Nobody needs to know about my training log. People want fun content, right? Like I'm a content creator. This is what I do on YouTube. So I'm like, let me just make my Strava really stupid. You can follow me on Strava if you want. My Strava's public. Just look me up. But, please be aware that like I make foot and mouth jokes. I wouldn't say I put my foot in my mouth on Strava, but like it was Holy Week last week, and yeah, I'm like a church musician, and I'm a serious church musician. I'm like, by that I mean like this is my religion technically. Like I am a super Episcopalian. You know, I've been doing this for my whole life, but I made a lot of jokes about Holy Week last week. So if you do not want to see some like slightly non-pious jokes, they're like slightly off color about religion, do not follow me on Strava because I do that a lot, not just during Holy Week. I make fun of like myself as a church musician constantly. So, yeah. Carrie, my aunt, now I'm just getting completely off track, is a great runner. And I was like, Carrie, I want to have a personal best. I want to run a sub 25-minute 5K. And she was like, no problem. But we were going to like a trail. Roosevelt Island Park Run is like a trail park run. So it's not easy. It's not that hard. Like there's not like that much uphill. But like when I got there, my friend Alyssa was like, this is not maybe the course to have a PB, a personal best, if you don't know what that is. And I was like, but my aunt is here to pace me, so I'll be fine. And we ran like a 24-minute 5K, which was definitely the fastest I've ever run a 5K in my life. I've run like a 25-ish minute, like just over 25-minute 5Ks before, but like on the harbor here where it's flat and not a trail. And yeah, the last kilometer was really hard. Oh, my Canadian just showed because I said kilometer. It was hard. And then she talked to me through the whole thing, which a lot of people I think would hate, because, but I found it useful. It was funny because she was like, you know, you sing, you know what it's like, you know, when you have to push. And I'm like, no, I've actually never experienced something like this. Like in singing, like, yeah, you can't stop singing, but like, I'm not really tired. It's just sometimes my brain is a little tired when I'm singing, but I'm like, I'm not tired in the same way. But then that night it was the Easter Vigil, and I was like trying to, keep my sanity intact for like the whole thing, which is 2 hours and 15 minutes. And at some point I, like the very end, we had to sing Jesus Christ is Risen Today. And there was a big descant, which means that like the sopranos, which is my voice part, have to sing really high. Like a fun extra tune on top of the regular tune. And Monica, the organist, who's also my best friend and also a knitter, she decided to like modulate the hymn up to the next key to make it even higher. Just like, yeah, it's Easter. And I was like, this is the last push of this service. And I was like, now I know exactly what Carrie was talking about when we were running that last kilometer, that race. And it was really hard. And I was like, oh yes, I didn't think I would experience this twice in one day, but here we are. So that was fun. And then we had to get up and sing it again in the morning. But anyway, this is like a 10-minute story about how I went to Looped with my family. There's an alarm going off. I wonder if that's Jordan. Anyway, or it might be outside. I can't tell. Anyway, it's 8:30, so it's someone's alarm. I got some yarn. Probably didn't need it. Doesn't matter. I needed a treat because it was the day before Easter and I was tired. So my aunt has been knitting this tank top by Petite Knits. I don't know what it's called, the Oslo tank top maybe. I'll link it in the show notes. It starts with 4 triangles. It's camisole. It starts with 4 triangles, and then you connect them all, and then you knit the body down. And she was knitting it, probably also the pattern calls for this, but I'm not positive, and knitting for all of Pure Silk. This is the colorway Dusty Artichoke. So this actually isn't that expensive. This is like $13 at Loop for a 50-gram ball. I'm sorry if you can hear that alarm and it's annoying you, but I don't know where it's coming from or if it's coming from my house or not. It's not very loud, so you probably can't hear it, so it's probably fine. But anyway, I decided to get some and knit this tank top, but I didn't. She was like, I'll send you the pattern, and I was like, cool. But then like I was just like impatient and I didn't feel like waiting. Oh, did I just pull it completely off the needle? Yeah, I did. So in a completely typical Emma fashion, it was on a needle and I just pulled the needle straight out. I just decided to cast on a triangle and knit until it was 9 inches wide because I have a 36-inch bust. So if I want the tank top to have 0 ease, which I do, 9 times 4 is 36. So I just need to knit this triangle until it's approximately 9 inches wide. I did not make a gauge swatch. Well, yes, I did. I did make a gauge swatch to see how, what the gauge would be. Although I think that in reality, it's a bit different. It's a little tighter than I thought. But it doesn't matter. I'm just knitting it until it's 9 inches wide. But I didn't wash the swatch, so I actually don't know. Sorry that I'm not looking at you. I'm trying to put these stitches back on the needle. This is 100% Pure Silk, knitting for all of Silk. So Silk doesn't ladder. Pure Silk, it's not slippery enough to ladder, which is nice. It's slippery in a different way, kind of, but it doesn't ladder, which is nice. So all these live stitches are just hanging out. They're not doing anything offensive. But I think I've finished the first triangle. I'm slipping the first stitch of every round, and I'm just making an increase at the beginning and end of every knit row. I say round, slipping the first stitch of every row. And this is like, yeah, so there's a triangle. I'll go up here. So what I'm gonna do, because I only got 2 balls, because I was like, I'll just have so much extra if I get a third. And I don't really care if it's a little cropped. And anyway, I'm gonna knit it pretty loosely. I just figured, again, I'm not using a pattern at all. So I'm gonna knit the 4 triangles, join them together in the round, and just start knitting the body until I'm finished with the first ball of this yarn. Then, the start of the second ball, I am going to knit the sleeves, or the sleeve straps. So I'm starting every triangle with a provisional cast on of 4 stitches. So on 2 of the triangles, I will, oh my God, that alarm. It's just gonna like ring in my ear all day. I am gonna try to tune it out. On 2 of the, I'm gonna, like, on the fronts, I'm gonna pick up those provisional cast-ons and do I-cords until I think it's the right length, to join them to the back, and then I'll Kitchener stitch them to the back. I will unpick that provisional cast-on as well, Kitchener stitch them to the back, so that that's done. And the only problem with that is that gravity will pull the tank top down more when the thing weighs more. So it may be like, but I don't think it's gonna make that much of a difference because it's a really, really lightweight silk yarn. So it might tug on the straps a little bit. So like knitting the straps slightly shorter than you think that they should be, but silk doesn't have a spring like wool does. And so I'm not super worried. The only thing I need to make sure not to do is dry it in the sunlight, because I did that once with a beautiful top that I made out of Pure Silk that was a beautiful light blue color. and it got discolored and turned kind of greenish in the sun. It's still fine because I just flipped it over and nuked it on the other side too, so it's all the same color. The inside is like the original beautiful light blue color, and I'm like, ugh. But it's like a little bit of just like a yellowy. It just got a little yellowy, and so it's like a super, super light turquoise now. It's fine. But this one I'm not going to dry in the sun because I actually really like the color of this top. So that's the new top. I am also working on a new spin. This is a South Down top that I dyed. I think I got it at Romney Wool in Toronto. Yeah, this is the second piece. I'm doing just I think I'm just gonna do this. I'm like considered doing this all on the same bobbin. I have 100 grams of this, and then doing the second bobbin differently. But I was like, nah, I'm just gonna do like a spin cycle type of spin where I do a fractal with this yarn. I mean, I dyed this using a pour over like kind of tie-dye bottles in a big lasagna pan on a what do you call it? I have a big huge hot plate, a griddle that I use. I usually dye on the stove now, like with a bigger pot and like immersion dye, just because we don't have as much kitchen space in this house, but that I moved to in November. But this I dyed in the old house, clearly. So this is this is the South Down top. So I'm spinning it on my e-spinner, which is down here somewhere. I don't want to pick it up. I'm trying to spin it a little thicker so it's more like a DK weight, just to have a variety of weights of yarn to do like with like color work or something. I don't know. So yeah, I don't really ever know what I'm gonna do with my hand spun yarn, but I give it away a lot. I should probably start selling it. I have a bunch that I don't really want that I've been like, oh, I could sell that on Etsy. So maybe I'll actually like get on that like this summer sometime. Maybe I'll get like there was some tea at the bottom. There was a little bit of milk solids that probably need to throw that milk away and get some new milk. Gross. It's okay. It's not gonna kill me. Yeah. There's my sock needles. I knew that I'd find them somewhere, but these are not the ones I actually need to use for this pair of socks. This is my little sock bag from Hohi & Co. that I like to use. Mustard yellow. It's easy to see. Anyway. New spin. Yeah, I'm working on that. There is a new 100-day long draw challenge from Andrea Mowry. So every day, it's 15 minutes a day challenge doing long draw spinning. And I did start long draw spinning, if you've been following me for a few months or longer. I did start long draw spinning on Felicity, which is the wheel you can see there. Ashford Traditional. But something is wrong with the take up. I don't know what. But she stops taking up after like a little bit. So I just need to, I haven't spun on her since like December. So I need to, maybe January. So I'm gonna just see if she's fixed herself. And if not, I'm just gonna finish the long draw spin I started on my e-spinner. This is the yarn for my long draw spin that I've been using, this roving. It's Coopworth roving that I got at Rhinebeck in 2022. I got it from the same woman who sold me Thelma, my matchless. Some people did comment to help me with the Thelma problem. I haven't actually tried it, but I am gonna try tightening this, like Knitting is very excited to try taking it apart partially and tightening it because the wheel is moving back and forth like this. So I think that will be a helpful fix. Thank you for helping me suggest, whoever suggested that. Thank you so much. I'm really excited to try it and I hope it works. And the only thing I have otherwise is to talk about my new Fair Isle sweater, which I haven't cast on, but I cast on a hat. I showed you the little coffee sleeve last week. That's at work, so I don't have it with me here, but I tried my colorways out on a coffee sleeve and realized I needed more colors. I was like, there's not enough here. I need more. So I'm just gonna go grab this. I am gonna go get this because I started a hat with the colorways that I like, ordered some more. I had to do an order from Jamieson & Smith to get a few more balls of some of the colors of J&S that I decided to use. But yeah, there are a lot of colors in this. I've never made a hat with this many colors. I've only made sweaters with this many colors, so that's fun. Because of the design, I didn't want to do the corrugated ribbed band, so the brim is flipping up a bit because it's not blocked or anything. Hopefully it won't. I think when I might actually have to block it on boards and like pin the brim down so it doesn't flip up, because I used not Biche Bouche, it's like BC Bio Shetland, which is thinner than normal Shetland, and it's it just does this. I have experienced this with a headband I made in Biche Bouche somewhat recently too. If you've watched like 3 episodes ago, you would have seen it. So I have 2. This is, I think, the exact chart I'm going to use for the sweater. This is the like smaller motif, and then there's a larger oxo. This is also technically an oxo. You can see the X and the O. And this is the big, the muckle and the peri. Hard to see, but there are so many background colors in this. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 background colors, and I think I'm using 6 foregrounds because the pop of orange is an extra. So I wasn't actually going to use the orange in the middle of the muckle, but then I was like, yes, I am. I changed my mind. And I have to go to, I switched it also to white, like a white and orange background just for 1 row of the muckle, just for fun. So I've been enjoying this. I need to get on this and kind of finish it, but this is not taking precedence right now because of the ganzy. Now I'm about to cast on socks. That's going to be important. The tank top, whatever. The tank top can get done whenever it gets done. I'm not really fussed about that. But I do want to finish that. This is the sample of the other Farrah Al-Cowl and release that at some point soon as well. So need to get on that for April, I think. It's a project for this week. So I think that's all. It's been 41 minutes and this is probably long enough. I finished, if you're following my reading and watching, I finished Deadlock and I immediately started it again. I watched the first episode with Jordan and then I just watched like the second and third episodes again like last night and this morning while I was working on my ganzy. I was like, no, I need to watch this again now that I know who did it. And it is still good the second time, for if anyone's wondering. I'm still reading The Secret History. I haven't, because I was away with my family, I wasn't like reading a physical book very much. But I'm listening to Cutting for Stone also. I'm almost done with that. I like it. It's really compelling. My mom is reading The Covenant of Water. They have it on, my parents have that on their Audible. So she's like, you need to listen to this next. And I'm like, no, I'm going to take a break and listen to something else after that. But I will. I promise I will. I haven't read any of David Copperfield since I got back because I just haven't really had time to read because it's been Holy Week. But I am excited to get back to that when I finish The Secret History, probably. I'm trying to like read a physical book before bed just to get me away from screens. Knitting jazzes me too much. It jazzes my mind. I feel like I really have entered a different sort of like, so I go through periods where I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to knit all this stuff and feeling very creative. And I'm in one of those periods right now. So I'm like, I'm trying to stay there, but also to like make sure that I go to bed on time, because if I don't go to bed, then my training will get really off because I'm not sleeping enough. So yeah, life is just always complicated like that. I also need to finish the thumbs of those mittens, the pink mittens. I'm also working on the vanilla sweater with my hand spun in those 2 greens. I don't know where that is. It's somewhere. Maybe that's where my hairbrush is. I couldn't find my hairbrush this morning and I was like, oh my gosh, I literally just lost my hairbrush coming back from England, and Jordan went to Target last weekend and got me a new one. She had to get a bunch of stuff at Target and she got me a new one. And it was a brand new Tangle Teezer. Tangle Teezer is the best hairbrush ever. And now I'm like, now it's gone. I'm like, where is it? And now I realize that I haven't seen that Wawa bag with my other whip in it. And so I think it's maybe still in my car. And I'm like, maybe my hairbrush is in there. I think I shoved a bunch of stuff in there. That's probably where it is. And I'm happy that it's hopefully not gone. I hope. Okay, yeah, this is cool. I need to go to work. It's not even 9 yet, but I'm gonna go to the office and I have to get a bunch of stuff done today. And I'm gonna run after work because it was raining. It's still maybe raining this morning. Gross. Also, my bathroom is leaking. The roof in my bathroom is leaking, and I've put in 3 maintenance requests for them to come fix it. And they finally sent someone at the same time that Jordan was home, and she could like explain where the leak was, because if it's not raining, you can't see it. But like it's very clear that the roof is leaking because there's like peeling paint and stuff, and now there's like clearly mold underneath the paint. And I'm like, this is gonna be the 4th maintenance request. Fix my roof. Like this is very bad. So it's dangerous. There's mold. We only have 1 bathroom. So I'm glad, like I live on the 3rd floor and I'm glad this part of the roof isn't leaking, but the bathroom is not. There's like a different part of the
roof over the bathroom, so I think that's leaking. Super fun. Really don't want to deal with that, but yeah. Okay, it's been long enough. Thank you for watching. This has been Tiny Duskening with Emma. Bye!